Hi and welcome to this video lesson on the CAGED system. In this video I'm going to show you what the CAGED system is, how it works, and what you can achieve by studying it. To follow this lesson and understand it, you'll need to know 5 common chords: the C chord, the A chord, the G chord, the E chord, and the D chord. The CAGED system was originally born in the classical guitar world and was adopted by modern players as a way of organizing the guitar fretboard. Through the CAGED system we divide the neck in 5 areas and we build on each one a vocabulary of chords, scales, arpeggios and licks. The first result of knowing the CAGED system well is that you will be able to fluently play anywhere in the neck, in any key. Of course, this will require some work and some constant practice. So as I mentioned earlier, to follow this lesson you need to know these 5 common chord positions: C, A, G, E and D. These 5 chords form the word CAGED, and that's why it's called the CAGED system, because it's based on these 5 positions. These 5 chords are very important because they're all movable, which means that we can move them anywhere in the fretboard. Let me give you an example. Let's play an E chord. Just to check that we're doing the same thing, I'm playing the bottom E open, A string on the 2nd fret, D string on the 2nd fret, G string on the 1st fret, open B string and open top E. Now keep this shape in mind, including the open strings involved, because if I want to move it, I have to move all strings involved. So how are we going to do this? Well, very simple. Let's start by changing the fingerings. So instead of using 1st, 2nd and 3rd fingers as we normally do, we'll now use the 2nd, 3rd and 4th fingers. These fingerings allow us to move the position and take care of the open strings as well. That's why I had to put the index back. Can you recognize the E chord here? This is an F chord using the E shape. So to understand what chord we are playing, just look at the bottom E string. That's where the root of this position is. The root is the note that gives the chord the name, and the root of the E shape is on the 6th string. So if you move this shape 1 more fret up, you will be in F sharp or G flat. 1 more fret up, it's gonna be G, and then G sharp or A flat, and so on. It's quite simple, right? Now let's try with another common shape, the A chord. This is the A chord. Let's check if we are doing it in the same way. I'm not playing the bottom E string, not because it's wrong, but because we want the root to be the lowest note in each position, so they are easier to find. So no 6 strings, we start from the 5th string, from the A string open, then D on the 2nd fret, G string on the 2nd fret, B string on the 2nd fret, and top E open. As before, let's fret the chord with different fingers. So instead of using the 1st, 2nd and 3rd, or whatever you're using now, let's use the 2nd, 3rd and 4th fingers. Then move it up 1 fret and add the index. We're now playing the B flat chord using the A shape. The root of the A shape is on the 5th string. So if you move it 1 more fret up, you will be playing a B chord, then a C chord, and so on. We've just looked at the 2 most common shapes. Now let's have a look at the 3 other ones. Let's play a standard C chord. Again, let's double check which strings we're using. I'm not playing the bottom E again. I want these notes to be the lowest note of the position because that's the root. So I'm starting from this note, which is the 3rd fret on the A string, then 2nd on the D string, open G, 1st on the B, and open top E string. Again, we have to change the fingerings and use the 2nd finger, the 3rd and the 4th. Now move it 1 more fret up and add the index. We are now playing a C sharp or D flat chord. The name depends on the key, so now you can call it either C sharp or D flat. The root of this position is on the 5th string. So if you move it 1 more fret up, you will be in D, then E flat, then E, and so on. Let's play a D chord. Let's double check which strings we are playing. I'm not playing the bottom 2 strings. I'm starting from the open D string, then 2nd on the G, 3rd on the B, 2nd on the top E string. As before, we need to change the fingerings. So 2nd, 3rd and 4th fingers. And now move it up 1 fret and add the index. We're now playing an E flat chord using the D shape. The root of the D shape is on the 4th string, is the only position that has the root on the 4th string. So if you move it 1 more fret up, it will be an E chord, F chord, F sharp, and so on. Let's play this type of G chord. As you probably know, there are many types of G chord, but this is the one we're after. So just to check if we are doing the same thing, 3rd fret on the bottom E string, 2nd on the A string, open D, open G, open B, then 3rd fret on the top E. Now let's change the fingerings as usual, and move it 1 fret up and add the index. It's quite difficult, but this is an A flat chord. The root of this shape is on the 6th string. So 1 up and you are in A. This is an A chord, B flat or A sharp, and so on. To make sure you've understood how the CAGED system works, let me give you a little exercise. Why don't you find the F chord using all 5 shapes? Now, if you want, you can pause the video now, try to work it out yourself, and then come back and watch the rest of the video. Okay, let's start with the E shape. I change the fingerings, I move it 1 up, and I'm in F. So the F chord using the E shape is going to be here on the 1st fret. Let's do the A chord now. I change the fingerings, move it up, and this is B flat, B, C, C sharp, D, E flat, E, F. F using the A shape is going to be here on the 8th fret. Let's do the C shape now. I change the fingerings and I start moving it up. C sharp, D, E flat, E, and F. So F using the C shape is going to be here on the 5th fret. Let's do the D shape. I change the fingerings and start moving it. E flat, E, F. So the F chord using the D shape is going to be here on the 3rd fret. Let's do with the G chord now. I change the fingerings and I start moving it. A flat, A, B flat, B, C, C sharp, D, E flat, E, and the F is going to be here on the 10th fret. So now you know any major chord in 5 positions. So once you understand how the CAGED system works, it's important to understand how to organize the position in order to make things a little bit easier. To do that, let's just review the 5 shapes of the F chord we've just found. The E shape was on the 1st fret, the A shape was on the 8th fret, the C shape was on the 5th, the D shape was on the 3rd, and the G shape was up here on the 10th. Now, if we organize them in a slightly better order, this is what we get. The E shape, the D shape, the C shape, the A shape, and finally the G shape. You will see that each one of these positions share one or more notes with the next one. The order of positions will always follow the order of the letters in the word CAGED, which means that after a C shape there will always be an A shape, and after an A shape there will be a G shape, and so on. Some of these positions are quite difficult to play, so let me just give you a couple of suggestions. Let's pretend that you're struggling with the C shape. First of all, that's a very common situation because the C shape is not easy and it involves quite a little bit of stretching. So the first suggestion will be move it up in the neck. In this way you can learn the position without putting too much stress on your hands. Once you're more familiar with the position, then you can move it lower in the neck until you will be able to do it anywhere. Another common mistake is to press too hard with these new positions. Now, by doing that, you're not making it any easier, so just keep an eye on how hard you're pressing the strings down. It shouldn't be too hard. A very common reaction to the CAGED system is, I'm never going to use these chords. Well, first of all, let me just say that the CAGED system is not necessarily about chords, but is about creating a reference point. We divide the guitar neck in 5 areas, and in each one of these areas we have scales, arpeggios, licks, and chords. So it's not necessarily about chords, but it's about creating this reference point that will help you to map out the guitar neck in any key. The second thing is, although the positions that I've showed you are correct, but most of the time people use fragments of these positions. For instance, the G shape. It's very difficult, but if you just isolate the 4 strings in the middle, it suddenly becomes more usable. People often associate numbers with each position of the CAGED system. For instance, the E shape is position 1, the D shape is position 2, and so on. The problem with the numberings is that it changes depending on which area you live in. For instance, the E shape is position 1 here in the UK, but it's position 4 in the US. So it can be pretty confusing if you're looking at the numbers. The easiest option is to call the name of the position E shape, A shape, and C shape. In this way there won't be any confusion. The CAGED system is a big topic, and it's very important if you're trying to understand how the guitar works. I hope you've enjoyed this lesson. If you have any questions, just come to my website and email me. Thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you soon.